Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to make this little kiwi. This is not for beginners because the feet and the beak can get a bit tricky, okay? So all you need is some cotton yarn in black for the eyes, yellow and brown, some stuffing, a 3mm hook, yarn needle and some scissors, okay? Okay, to start you want to take your brown yarn, make a slip knot and chain 2. Okay, you want to go back into the first chain that you made and make 6 single crochets. Okay, so I'm going to be doing the cross stitch, but it works in the single crochet as well. So single crochet, you pull the yarn this way, and cross stitch, you pull it this way. Okay, I'll leave a link in the description for my cross stitch video and my beginners videos as well. Okay, pull the tail tight. And the next row you want to increase each stitch. So it's 2 single crochets in each stitch. So you'll go from 6 single crochets to 12. Okay, so once you've increased to 12 single crochets, and the next row you want to increase to 18. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochets in the second stitch. Okay, so just repeat that all the way back to the stitch marker. 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in the second stitch. Okay, so now that we've increased to 18, we need to increase to 24. So it's 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and 1 increase in the third stitch. Okay, so 2 single crochets and an increase until you get back to the stitch marker. Okay, so now that we've increased to 24, we need to increase to 30. So it's 3 single crochets and an increase. Okay, so just do 3 single crochets and an increase until you get back to the stitch marker. Alright, now that we've finished increasing to 30, we need to increase to 36. So it's 4 single crochets and an increase. Alright, so that's how it looks when you get to 36 stitches. And the next row we need to increase to 42. So 5 single crochets and an increase. Alright, so now that we've increased to 42, I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to do 7 rows of just 42 single crochets around. Okay, so I'll place my stitch marker and I'll just go around for 7 rows. Okay, so I'll come back and show you how it looks. Alright, so this is how it looks after I've done my 7 rows. In the next row, we need to start to decrease, so we're going to go from 42 back down to 36. So we need to do 5 single crochets, and then we need to do a decrease. So I go through the front loop of this stitch and the front loop of the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so it's 5 single crochets and a decrease all the way around. So through the front loop of the first one, front loop of the second one, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Alright, so now that we've decreased down to 36, we just need to do 1 row of single crochet. So just 1 row of 1 single crochet in each stitch. So no increases or decreases in this row. Okay. Alright, so once you decrease down to 36 and you do 1 row of 36, it should look like this. And the next row we're going to decrease down to 30. So 4 single crochets and a decrease. Now that I've decreased down to 30, I need to decrease down to 24. So 3 single crochets and a decrease. Alright, so now that I've decreased down to 24, I'm going to do 2 rows of 24, which will be the neck. So if you're using safety eyes, you can add them whenever you want. Okay, so I'm just going to do 2 rows of 24. Alright, so I've done my 2 rows of 24, and now we need to start to increase again. So that's the head and the neck, and now we'll make the body. So we need to go from 24 to 30. Single crochet 3 and 1 increase. Alright, in the next row we need to increase from 30 to 36. So we need to do 4 single crochets and an increase. Alright, I now have 36 around. I need to increase to 42. Okay, 5 single crochets and 1 increase for this row. And the next row we're going to increase from 42 to 48. 6 single crochets and an increase for this row. Alright, so now that we've increased to 48, it looks like this weird shape. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here, and we need to do 8 rows of 48. So just 8 rows of single crochet all the way along, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks. Alright, so this is how it looks after my 8 rows of 48. Okay, so in the next row we need to decrease back down to 42. Okay, so single crochet 6, and then 1 decrease. Okay, so 6 single crochets and a decrease will take you from 48 to 42. And then once we finish this row, I'm just going to do 1 row of 42. Okay. Alright, so we decreased from 48 to 42, and then we did 1 row of 42. And the next row we need to decrease from 42 to 36. So single crochet 5. And then make a decrease. Okay, so that's the pattern for this row. Single crochet 5 and a decrease until you get back to the stitch marker, and then the next row we're just going to single crochet 35 or 36 around. Alright, so now I've decreased down to 36, and I did 1 row of 36 single crochets, and the next row we need to decrease down to 30. So it's 4 single crochets and a decrease. Alright, just 4 single crochets and a decrease until you get back to the stitch marker. Okay, so once I've finished the decreasing down to 30 stitches, I've stuffed the head, so it's not too hard to stuff later. Okay. And the next row we need to decrease from 30 down to 24. So it's 3 single crochets and a decrease. Okay, now we've decreased down to 24. We need to decrease to 18. So 2 single crochets and a decrease for this row. Alright, now that we've decreased down to 18 stitches, I've gone and stuffed it. That's how it looks. Okay, the next row is to decrease down to 12. Okay, so it's just one single crochet and one decrease until you get back to that stitch marker. Okay, and this row can take a while because it's stuffed. So just one single crochet and one decrease. Alright, so now that I have 12 single crochets around, I need to decrease each stitch. So that's just 6 decreases. Alright, before you do this row, make sure you've stuffed it enough. Okay, so I've decreased down to 6. Cut your yarn, pull it through. And then you just want to go through the front loop of each of those 6 stitches. Okay, and once you've done that, just pull it tight. Okay, and then just hide the tail in the kiwi. Alright, so now that you've closed up the bottom, it should look like this. The next thing we need to do is make the feet. Okay, so I had trouble making like the feet in a round, so I've just done it this way. Okay. So you want to make a slip knot. Okay. Chain 8. Alright, skip the first one, that's your turning chain, and single crochet 7 back down. So 1 in each chain, except for the turning chain. Okay, now chain 9. Skip the first one and single crochet 8. Okay, so one is slightly longer than the other. Now you need to slip stitch. So you want to go through the front loop of that last single crochet on this panel. Okay, and then go through this little loop on the side, which is part of that last single crochet, and slip stitch. Okay, if you have a better way of making these feet, just do it that way. Okay, chain 8 again. Right. Skip 1 and single crochet 7. Okay, and you want to slip stitch to the next claw, so through the front loop of that last single crochet and the loop on the side. And slip stitch. Okay. Okay, so now that we have our 3 claws, it gets a bit tricky, so we need to make 6 single crochets in a round. Okay, so I'm going to go back into here. This is where our starting tail is. Okay, and I'm going to make 2 single crochets in here. Okay. Then I'm going to make 1 in this first single crochet, just in the front loop. Okay, so now we have 3 single crochets. I'm going to make 1 in this loop here. Okay, now we have 4 single crochets. I'm going to make 1 in this next loop here. And then 1 in this front loop of the last single crochet on this claw. Okay, so it's really hard to see, but I've got 6 single crochets there. I'm going to slip stitch to the first one we made. So if you count back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this one down here. Okay, go through both loops, make a slip stitch, and now chain 1. Okay, I'm going to turn my work, and now I need to make these 6 single crochets into 8. So I'm going to go back into the one we slip stitched into. I'm going to single crochet 1, right? I'm going to put an increase in the next one, okay, so there's 3 there, single crochet in the next one, increase in the next stitch, okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet in the next one, where is it? And an increase in the last one. Okay, so now you need to check that you have 9 single crochets around, and then I'm going to go into this first one and I'm going to make 9 rows of 9 single crochet. Okay, and I'm going to use a stitch marker so I don't lose what row I'm on. So once you've done your 9 rows of 9, it should look like this. So just pull your stitch marker out, and you just want to slip stitch to the next stitch. And you need to cut enough yarn to stitch it onto the body. And pull it through. Before you stuff it, if you have any holes at the bottom, because you don't want your stuffing coming out, a hole in there, just weave this tail end in and then make a knot. Alright, and then just push it all the way through and hide that in there. Okay, so you need to stuff your leg, but you need to leave a little bit not stuffed at the top, because we're going to squeeze it and then stitch it on. Okay, so I use just a crochet hook with no rubber to push the stuffing in. Okay, right, the last thing you need to make is the beak, and you don't need to stuff the beak at the end. So make a slip knot, chain 2, go back into the first chain that you made and make 4 single crochets. Okay, pull the tail tight, and then you want to just put 1 single crochet in each stitch. Okay, so you're still keeping it at 4 single crochets. And this bit's really fiddly as well. In the next row we're going to increase from 4 to 6. So I'm going to put 1 increase in this next stitch. And 1 single crochet in the next one. Okay, so you just need to do that twice. 1 increase and 1 single crochet. Okay, 1 increase here. And in the last one, 1 single crochet. Okay, so now that you have 6 single crochets around, you just need to do 1 row of 6. And the next row we're going to increase to 8. So I'm going to do 1 increase in the first stitch. Two single crochets, 1 increase, and 2 single crochets. Okay, so I stopped the video and I did 4 rows of 8. Now I'm just going to increase to 9, so I'm going to put 1 increase in the first stitch. And then I'm going to single crochet around. Okay, so 1 increase and then just single crochet back to the stitch marker. Okay, so I stopped the video and I did 4 rows of 9 single crochets. Just slip stitch to the next one, and then again cut the yarn as long as you need it to stitch it on and pull it through. Okay, and I'll just add a little bit of stuffing in there. Alright, so now you just need to stitch everything on. So for the beak, I'm going to start stitching it on about 11 rows down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in this row. Okay, so the top of the beak will be on the 11th row. But I'm going to start stitching it from under here, so this bit stays at the bottom. Okay, so once you've stitched on the beak, I've gone and done the eyes. Okay, or you can use your safety eyes, but you need to put your safety eyes in before you put any stuffing in. Okay, and the last thing to do is to add your feet. So he sits up pretty well by himself. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to put the little feet on an angle, kind of sticking out. Okay, and you want to stitch it underneath them. For the eyes, it's really hard to see, but I've gone 1 stitch up, and then I've gone 3 across, and then 1 stitch down, and they're quite close to the beak. Okay. Okay, so once you've stitched on the beak, the eyes and the feet, it's done. The only other thing you could do is iron these if they curl up a little bit. Okay. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.